Hi everybody, JJ here from ASUS here at Newegg Studios. And you can see here right next to me, I've got something pretty awesome. We've literally been on a mad dash rush over the last 24 hours to be able to go ahead and put together a pretty impressive custom water cooling system. When I was here last, I saw the actual opportunity to take advantage of this awesome Phanteks Entho Elite chassis. It's an absolutely beautiful high performance chassis that's really asking for a huge water cooling type setup. And I knew that in the not too distant future, we would be releasing our Maximus 9 Extreme full coverage water cooling monoblock motherboard, which is based on the Z270 chipset and of course is going to allow us to considerably overclock a 7700K. And to pair with it, of course, we want to take things to the next level, which I knew we were going to be able to do when we paired it up with the brand new ASUS GeForce GTX 1080 Ti Poseidon, which features a full custom water coverage block on the card. So what we're going to do is actually dive into this system and give you guys some insights into ultimately how we put together this system and some of the key benefits of what you ultimately get, as well as some of the different options you might have if you go about building your own high-end custom water cooling system. First and foremost, this is really for the enthusiasts out there. They're really looking for the most flexibility when it comes to airflow, as well as custom water cooling types of setups, and ideally with multiple types of radiators, as you would be able to mount radiators here at the top, the front, and even the bottom. Now in our situation, we've gone ahead and actually maximized the volume of this space to be able to go ahead and equip some really high performance EK based radiators. Specifically, we've got the Coolstream PE 480 quad. So these are fantastic. They are large, ultra high quality radiators, perfect for a high-end system like this in terms of really being able to go ahead and give us a huge amount of dissipation capabilities to be able to allow for some aggressive overclocking, but still extremely quiet operation. So we have one here mounted at the top and another down here at the bottom. Now as we take a look closer towards the center of this build, really at the heart and at the foundation of really what is rocking away here is going to be the Maximus 9 Extreme. So this is pretty much our highest end ASUS ROG certified motherboard. It's got pretty much everything you could ask for, from super high-end audio, a full coverage RGB monoblock, which even takes care of water cooling, and M.2 drive, which is equipped on this unit, along with even having integrated water flow monitoring and even some really specialized actually capabilities to monitor the inlet in terms of leak detection. But for a lot of users out there, you might want to actually go with a fully custom solution. And another alternative might be for this type of setup to consider a board like our Maximus 9 Formula. This is an absolutely beautiful board and offers a full coverage shroud, which also gives a really distinctive look and feel to this different type of setup. Has multiple RGB zones built on board in terms of lighting, and still 2 RGB headers to allow you to have tons of flexibility and connectivity for more lighting. On top of that, we co-work directly with EK to be able to integrate VRM cooling built onto this board, and of course then you could pair that up with an awesome high performance EK CPU block and you're rocking and rolling, and really being able to go ahead and define a system look and feel just the way that you want it. So continuing with the rest of the components that we've got here, now underneath that high performance monoblock that we've got for the motherboard is of course a Core i7 7700K. And of course the boot, because we've got water cooling here and we've got an extraordinarily good CPU, we've overclocked this guy to 5 gigahertz. And this system is easily able to keep it cool even under full 100% load. No problems there. Now of course, to be able to pair up with an outstanding CPU like that, we want some high performance DDR4. So we've gone ahead and packed in Pacer's latest generation DDR4 blade memory. It features a beautiful blade design with an integrated LED light bulb that goes perfectly with, of course, the red accenting that you can see throughout the entirety of the RGB lighting that we've got set to red, really kind of giving you this system a classic red and black feel, which ROG is known for. Now beyond that, we've of course gone ahead and set the XMP profile within the UEFI to be able to go ahead and have that memory running at its 3000 megahertz frequency so that we can go ahead and get the best performance possible. Now what you might not easily see is that this board packs in 2 Pacer Z280 480GB NVMe M.2 based SSDs. The reason why you don't see them is because this board has really been built for aesthetic design. So directly underneath this portion right here of the board, as part of the monoblock, is actually a full coverage heatsink, which is integrated into the water cooling solution to be able to give us ultra cool temperature performance for our M.2 drive. Furthermore, we've gone ahead and added the second drive down here towards the bottom portion of the motherboard. Now, if we go ahead and use, once again, our Maximus 9 formula as a reference example, it features a very similar design where if you remove this portion of the board, you can essentially mount that M.2 drive and you'll be rocking and rolling with 2 drives set up for, of course, RAID 0 operation. We have the absolutely premium and beautiful to look at GTX 1080 Ti Poseidon. This card is absolutely a monster when it comes to the performance. It features a custom built VRM, 10+2 power phase design, of course, outstanding VRM components in range of the fully molded inductors, of course, the IR power stages, and of course, those high quality Japanese capacitors. You add to that the custom H2O water block that we've built on board, and you got an absolutely beastly card that runs super cool and really gets an outstanding level of performance due to an out-of-box overclock, which of course is helped to be maintained at its highest frequency due to it being water cooled. Now, of course, one thing that we definitely cannot go without talking about is this beautiful mirrored RGB integrated display. Now, this system, of course, from the outright, we wanted to make sure had a high degree of RGB lighting to be able to really customize the look and feel that we wanted in terms of ambience. And of course, this all syncs together. This is all part of the ASUS Aura RGB initiative. So everything from the Maximus 9 Extreme, which features integrated RGB lighting for the monoblock, to the RGB mirrored display, the ROG eye on the back plate of the card, and of course the entirety of all the RGB Phanteks LED strips and the LED that's natively built into this chassis, and even our keyboard and mice can all fully be synchronized all through the ASUS Aura utility. So with the key components out of the way, of course, a real big star of this system is the entire water cooling system in itself. And of course, for that, we really want to tap really the industry leader, and that's EK. EK makes some absolutely premium water cooling hardware. And on top of that, they've really focused on offering a wide range of flexibility and functionality with the wide range of fittings and of course, complementary accessories to really be able to make this a really easy process. So of course, with a system like this, you're gonna have a lot of choices. You could have gone hardline tubing, you could go with, of course, porcelain glass, or of course what we went with, the traditional soft tubing, which is ultimately the easiest and I still think looks quite nice for this system. Here we of course have the EK Res with the D5 pump. This is the PWM based design with the extended reservoir. This really just allows us to go ahead and have a really nice distinctive look and feel, but you've got a lot of flexibility. You could of course mounted the res here, you could have mounted it back here. You've got a lot of different choices. You could of course go with a traditional pump and reservoir based design that would have been mounted down this bottom portion of this base. Now on top of that, we also worked with EK to be able to request, of course, a lot of their more customized types of fittings. And this is really a big tip for you guys out there that are looking to be able to set up your own custom water cooling hardware, is that look at different types of course, rotary fittings or angle-based fittings. They're gonna make your life a lot easier in terms of giving yourself the flexibility to be able to adjust tubing in different directions that are complementary to how you want to set up your system. And that's exactly what we've done here. And on top of that, of course, the black anodized finish that are based on the actual fittings themselves look absolutely fantastic. And once again, help to really maintain the clean look and feel that we're looking for. From a baseline perspective, of course, you could change these up. You could even add in a lot more RGB lighting if you want to be able to go ahead and incorporate fans that featured LED lighting. For the front intake here, there's side inlets that Phanteks has gone ahead and implemented to ensure that you get great amount of intake airflow. And there's these high performance Phanteks 140mm fans that already come with the chassis, along with a 140mm fan here at the back. So another quick tip that we want to give you guys, if you're considering a high-end custom water cooling build like this, and especially if you're going to be utilizing an ASUS ROG series motherboard, is to keep in mind the advanced type of fan control, flexibility, and connectivity that our motherboards offer. So in this type of system, the actual Extreme features a really specialized fan design implementation, where we actually have 4 fan headers, quad channels set up on one portion of the top corner of the board, and then again at the bottom of the motherboard. This works really well for this type of setup because of course you can see we've got 4 fans here and then 4 fans at the bottom. In that type of setup, you of course want the unique independent control or the mirrored PWM control that the motherboard is going to be able to offer you. Now, the Vadar fans do feature a little bit shorter cables, so optimally for the best granularity and control and also monitoring capabilities, I'd recommend getting yourself just some straightforward 4-pin fan extension cables. So last but definitely not least, and a real critical item that you can't easily see in this system because of the way that the chassis has been set up, is the power supply. It actually is in its own isolated compartment down on the other side of the chassis down here in the bottom bay. Now with an ultra high-end system like this, the choice was pretty easy. We pretty much went with the best of the best, and that was with Seasonic's Prime Series PSUs. This is a titanium class power supply, an absolutely huge monster when it comes to its performance, the custom topology, and the premium componentry that's been used in this power supply. While you definitely don't see it, you're definitely going to feel it while using the system, and that's going to come through in spades in terms of the reliability, especially when we're definitely pounding on the system with the overclock settings that we have in. So moving beyond all the core hardware that we've got, really a key element to the system is going to, of course, be the aesthetics, the overall look and feel of how the system ultimately all comes together. And of course, like we talked about, we're really highlighting the ASUS Aura Sync initiative with this build and being able to have a lot of control when we talk about our RGB setup. Now, while a lot gets talked about when it comes to RGB, what I really ultimately find is it's about ambience, fill lighting, and really finding something that you like in terms of a color scheme for your system. Now, of course, all the hardware that we've gone ahead and selected is really all monochromatic in color scheme, so that means it perfectly serves as a contrast. Now we've got some fixed red componentry in here, such as of course the red fluid, and then of course our Blade DDR4 memory. But otherwise than that, we would really have a huge amount of flexibility of changing it up however we wanted, because of course everything from the integrated lighting on the Phanteks FL Elite, the Phanteks magnetic RGB LED strips, the mirrored RGB display, and of course the RGB lighting built onto the Maximus 9 Extreme is all customizable. So overall, guys, that gives you a bit of perspective in terms of what it ultimately looks like to be able to build a custom high-end Z270 as well as GeForce GTX 1080 Ti water-cooled enabled system. It's been awesome to be able to go ahead and put together this system in literally the few hours that we had to be able to do it, and hopefully it gives you a little bit of a rough idea of what something like this would look like as it all comes together. As always, with PC DIY, there's tons of different choices, whether it's going to be with different motherboards, different water blocks, different cooling configurations, and so much more, but that's really what makes PC DIY so awesome. And as always, that's really what we're interested in giving you guys information on to be able to define your system the way that you want to. So as always, if you guys liked the video, you enjoyed it, make sure to go ahead and subscribe, hit that thumbs up button, and as always, take care, take it easy, and enjoy the rest of your day.